WWE Backlash is this weekend, and quite frankly, there have been a lot of bangers, and there have been a lot of stinkers that have came from this pay-per-view. And to go in the opposite direction of yesterday's video, your boy wanted to go over every single WWE Backlash card of the past decade, or more so from 2016 till 2023, because they kind of stopped for a while, WWE Backlash. But nevertheless, every single WWE Backlash from 2016 to 2023, and figure out what was the worst match on each card. But hey, if you like wrestling content, follow your boy, because you got that and more over here. On top of that, feel free to follow your boy over on Twitch, on the Twitter, on the main YouTube, and feel free to also peep your boy over on Twitter. Nevertheless, let's get into it. If you wanted to talk about worse, let's talk about the fact that they had Kane defeat Bray Wyatt in 2016. I'll be honest, I hardly remember this match until I started researching this. And I believe this was before Randy Orton would eventually turn on Bray Wyatt. If not, what would lead us into the start of the Randy Orton Bray Wyatt storyline? I could be a little off there, but at the very least, this is around the beginning of that feud those two had. Despite being an all-holds-barred match, this is still a part of when Vince McMahon couldn't be bothered to let Bray Wyatt get wins, or really book him well. It should come to nobody's surprise that for that of 2017 was Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton. Now you might be saying, didn't you go ahead and put this in your best? Which, by the way, if you haven't seen that video, feel free to check it out. But to answer your question, yes, I did. But like how I did in that video, let me go ahead and give a bit of reasoning as to why I wasn't really feeling this match here. Jinder went from nobody to champion, and this run didn't do him any favors. And on top of that, the only reason I put it on my best list was because of how shocking and how hilarious and how funny it was. I might have said that in that video, but quite frankly, this did more damage to the title than it did a Jinder Mahal here. A wild start to what you could have predicted was going to be a bad run. 2018, the sleeper match of the show. Emphasis on sleeper. Now, while this could be seen as a dream match nowadays, if you put the Tribal Chief against the former AEW World Champion against one another, the two Samoan Joes that fought against two of the Rhodes brothers around the same exact time, this was the match where, for those that don't recall, people en masse left the arena right as the match was about to begin. As they were making their entrances throughout the match and up to the end of it, people left the arena. You can see a few empty seats down there in this picture behind me, but if it wasn't people absolutely booing and clapping on this match, it was the people leaving en masse in manners that I don't think we have seen in a main event for a WWE pay-per-view in a long time since, or even before that. Now that I can think about it, this match was boring. This match should not have main evented. It wasn't even for a title, and on top of it, this is probably the worst match these two had against each other, and around a time where people really were not fucking with Roman Reigns. Skipping ahead to 2020 because there was no 2019 Backlash, this is not the last time you're going to see The Miz. I'll get to that in a second. Handicap 2-on-1 for the Universal title in a match that featured the epic classic that was Randy Orton versus Edge. This was very, very disappointing. And I'll be honest, one of the dullest reigns the Universal title had was unfortunately with Braun Strowman. WWE waited way too long to pull the trigger with him, and only did so because it was the start of the pandemic, which also kinda loses this match even more points. Braun Strowman packs the tag team up, and that's really about it. There's nothing much to know of this match other than I couldn't be bothered with the storyline, and I couldn't be bothered with this match. But you want to see a real nightmare, a really massive stinker? Well, it's time I remind you about this match. The Miz versus Damian Priest. And my god, when half of the current tag team champions and the world champion nowadays, at the very least at the time we're recording this video, as of the end of April 2024, my god. If you don't remember, you know what, allow me to move myself here just so you can see what this match stipulation was. This was the Zombie Lumberjack match. Now, as for who thought this was a good idea, if you told me it was Vince, I would believe you, because he's the only one that would find this amusing. This is seen as one of the worst, if not the worst ever, lumberjack matches of all time, and probably, if I were to go ahead and do a tier list for every single Backlash match in the history of the pay-per-view, this would probably be at the bottom, at the very dead last. It is a miracle that Damian Priest has been able to walk out of this match good and well, and it's a shame that they followed up that absolute banger of Damian Priest and Bad Bunny versus The Miz and Morrison up with this absolute stinker, ending with The Miz getting eaten alive by zombies. Baron Corbin and Madcap Moss. I want to sum up, and it's saddening how Madcap's career went, especially after the split with him and Corbin went. I want to show this to sum up my thoughts. Legit, this match, especially considering this was Happy Corbin nonetheless, did not help the situation at all. And yeah, whatever happened to bro? I legitimately don't recall what happened to Madcap Moss outside of him getting released. But my god, all I can recall was subpar booking for Madcap Moss, and this match certainly didn't help. Now, for the last match on this list, I will admit is not exactly a bad match. Just, in my opinion, the least strongest, is still a strong match, that being Omos versus Seth Rollins. Now, this is probably one of my favorite Omos matches that he's had. And again, not a bad match, just the weakest out of a very strong card. Or a decently strong card, I would say. Unlike the other matches, I'll be honest, I can't exactly harp on this too much. And I couldn't even dissuade you from watching this either. Seth Rollins got one very enjoyable match out of Omos, ending in, I believe, the first time Seth has hit the super curb stomp off of the top of the ropes to get the victory. But yeah, y'all let me know down in the comments below y'all's thoughts on the video, as well as what would y'all put for the worst Backlash matches of the past decade. Or you can even go as far as to list every single Backlash pay-per-view in the worst match, dating back to the origination of the show. Hey, I've been your wrestling VTuber World Champion, Bill Sean Vaughn. If you like daily wrestling content, again, follow your boy because we got that and more. And we're out.